Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the fashion car. Okay. Opium. Oh wow, look at the light. Very fascinating. Okay. Now, I just took the eau de parfum with me, but I'm going to kind of talk quickly about the differences between the eau de toilette, the pure perfume, and the eau de parfum. I've purchased a refill, like 50 ml eau de parfum about a month ago. I also purchased the eau de toilette about a month ago. And about 2 months ago, I purchased the pure perfume, 15 milliliter. Pure perfume, 15. Then 50 ml eau de toilette, 50 ml eau de parfum. It's like more than half of it is already gone of the eau de parfum. I use it that much. The eau de toilette is like even lower. It's up to there. Literally bathe in this stuff. And the pure perfume, because you know I kind of I put the splash liquid into a little sprayer bottle. So it's a very tiny sprayer, so it doesn't spray out much. It's still lasting, you know. I don't overspray the pure perfume, obviously. But in terms of smell, I have to say, even though I am using a lot the eau de toilette, I would not really recommend it. If you can, spend those 10 to 20 bucks more on the eau de parfum because it's much closer to the original formulation of what we kind of remember opium as being. Opium is not really the same fragrance it used to be. It has changed. Now, we know that there are so many different reasons as to why things change. There's a really interesting article written on Fragrantica about all the different reasons behind why fragrances change. First, biggest reason being our perception of what a fragrance was and what it is. We have a memory of a perfume, and that kind of changes and evolves with time because we grow up, and as we grow, all of our olfactory sense and everything just changes, and senses, all of that evolves. But also in the Fragrantica article, what is interesting, they also talk about all the other reasons, you know, because maybe when the fragrance was first formulated, the formula belonged to a particular pharmaceutical or perfume company. It does not belong to the actual fashion brand that launches it, like in this case Yves Saint Laurent. So when the contracts expire and they go to another perfume production company or distribution or pharmaceutical company, then they have to kind of tweak the ingredients because the new company doesn't own all the rights, all the chemical rights to all the components within the fragrance. Then there's other reasons as well, which to me seems to be the more kind of what happens most of the time case, which is fragrances has been in production for many decades, and at a certain point certain companies just want to go cheap, you know, find cheaper ways of manufacturing certain ingredients, going the artificial route. Well, most ingredients are artificial anyway, but just newer technologies are developed every year, and you can have synthetic materials, components that act as other components and other smells to mimic a certain smell that we're used to smelling for cheaper. A lot of things contribute to the change of a perfume, to a degree where in some cases bringing back from the dead a fragrance causes the so-called zombie perfume. Sorry, I can't breathe in the car. Because what does that mean? The zombie perfume being for example, I've reviewed it together with you guys on my channel, Fendi's Fendi perfume, the same name as the brand, from the 80s, was magical. It was delicious. The concoction that they brought back from the dead, it's not Fendi anymore. It's disgusting. It's so vile that it ruins even the reputation that Fendi used to have. So with Opium, we have a different situation, a different scenario. Opium, at least the eau de parfum, is really still opium, you know. There's that, at its heart, it has that great, I usually describe it as warmth without being sweet, you know. It's a warmth that's not sweet. Oh, look at that backlight. It's a warmth that's not too sweet. It's not overpowering in a sweet way. And that is still here. There's less ingredients. It's less sophisticated than it used to smell in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it's nevertheless very different from everything else we find on the market. Now, mind you, opium in all three concentration forms, the original opium, and by original I mean opium. I'm not talking about all the other opiums, the black opium or all the other opiums that came out. This one smells very different from all of the other flankers of opium that have come out. But this video in particular is about the difference between the three concentrations that we have: pure perfume, eau de parfum, and eau de toilette. As I said, as I briefly mentioned before, I'm going to mention it again, I would not go for the eau de toilette. I'm using it a lot, but usually I use it as kind of a sidekick to this one. And you can see the eau de parfum has the black thing in the middle there. The eau de toilette doesn't. That's how you can always see that these newer bottles are either eau de parfum or eau de toilette. The eau de toilette is more of a sidekick, meaning it has a very slight reminiscence of opium, only in kind of the opening notes, and then it's gone. And then it's just, they can go a bit cheap, a bit dusty cheap. Now, if I'm just going to bed after I took a shower or something, I just spray a little bit of it just to give a touch of zest, and then I fall asleep so I don't smell the dry down. For that, it's okay. But it's not okay to wear it throughout the day and respray, reapply throughout the day, because your nose is going to get used to it and you're not going to sense out that opening note anymore after a certain time, and you're just going to smell that chemical after bite. Not so good. In the eau de parfum version, we don't have that particular type of cheap chemical bite that eau de toilette delivers. This one also can go very chemical, depending on your skin, type. Right now it's pretty hot outside, so interestingly enough, right out of the bottle I smell out kind of citrusy notes, which I never smell out in opium. Never. Now I smell them. But the incensey notes in here and whatever is reminiscent of a clove, it's still there. And I love that. I love that in particular. I love that about the eau de parfum. What is also interesting about the eau de parfum is when you first purchase it. Now let me tell you the batch code of this one. This is 38R901M. When you purchase it and you spray it freshly on your skin, it doesn't, you know, it's going to smell off in a way, not that it's old off, it's going to smell like a copy of opium. Does that makes any sense? You're gonna need to give it, like, it needs to breathe, so you're gonna have to spray it a couple of times, start using it after a week or two when enough oxygen has come into the bottle mixed with the actual liquid in there. Leave it outside. Don't close it, you know, in wardrobes. I mean, don't put it in direct sunlight either, but just let it breathe. It will start to get a certain type of heft and weight. Yeah, that's the thing. When you first apply the eau de parfum just out of the box, it's going to have a lightness to it that is not typical for opium. Opium is about the heft. It's about a certain type of weight added to the fragrance, which I love about opium. But the eau de parfum doesn't have it the first couple of weeks after right after purchasing it new. with time, it kind of gets that extra vibe, that older opium vibe that I love, that I'm used to. And in fact, I do have an older bottle, 3 years old or 4, 30 ml. I still have a couple of drops left of opium. It really ages well. The eau de parfum really gets heavier in a good way, in a kind of an oily, almost balmy type of way. The pure perfume, unfortunately, is almost non-existent in terms of distribution. You can hardly find it anywhere and nowadays. I mean, they make it in France. It says made in France. All 3 concentrations, as the sticker at the bottom states, are made in France. The pure perfume is also made in France. However, the pure perfume seems to apparently have distribution as of now, 2019, April 2019. Distribution is only limited to Europe. France being the place where you can find it almost everywhere, and then the more you kind of go away from France and the less you can find it. So I will be reviewing it here. I mean, I will be talking about it, how it compares to the other 2 concentrations, but however, unfortunately, it's not an easy one to hunt down worldwide. So just try to follow my descriptions if you can't have it to really spray it on you and smell it. It's much lighter than the eau de parfum. But this is the case with most pure perfumes. Most pure perfume concentrations of a fragrance have a lightness to them, which is very sophisticated, very nonchalant, very effortless, that other concentrations don't have usually. Opium is not any less sophisticated than other pure perfumes like Chanel's pure perfumes would be, for example, or Guerlain's pure perfumes. It has the longest longevity of the 3 concentrations. Eau de toilette really is very fleeting. It doesn't last long on the skin. Eau de parfum, if you kind of a little bit overdose it, it can last a very long time, especially also on the clothes or on the hair. The pure perfume stays very close to the skin, but lasts really double the amount that the eau de parfum would last. However, the sillage, and it's so funny how many of you always try to correct. I know how to pronounce sillage correctly, but I prefer to call it sillage. Is not screechy in any way. The pure perfume is very well balanced. It's a very well calculated balance of all the ingredients in it. Could be even better balanced for sure, but it is better balanced than the eau de parfum and much better balanced than the eau de toilette. But so the sillage won't be, it's not a projection monster. However, it will last you. Longevity is really good. And you're going to end up sniffing your skin over and over again where you applied it. You won't be really putting your nose onto the skin. It's more, you're going to like it more from a slight distance. So let's say if you apply it here, you're not going to put your nose on it. Like from this distance, you're going to really like it a lot. The closer you get to it and the more chemical it gets. All 3 concentrations. It's a fragrance that needs a certain distance to be appreciated, also by the wearer. And given the circumstances and given its limited distribution, the pure perfume, unfortunately, is out of reach for most people, unless you don't want to try to hunt it down overseas, other continent, and then pay a lot of import taxes. It's a bit tricky. So I would say try out the eau de parfum of the 3 concentrations. You could, start off with a 30 milliliter bottle. That's the smallest quantity that they make, spray, and play with it in hot weather, in colder weather, in the evening, in the morning, when you're alone at home, just with yourself. See how it plays with your skin, because it's a very complicated fragrance. Still today, with the current concentrations on the market, as simplified as it has become throughout the decades, opium is still very sophisticated when compared to all the other trash that's out there that's being produced today. The modern fragrances that are just being made today for the first time. You know, opium still can kick all of them off of the shelf, really, in my personal opinion. I just don't know why Yves Saint Laurent doesn't push it more. Instead, they keep pushing those creepy, you know, black opiums, which I know a lot of people love them, but it's just not opium to me. They should have just called it a different name. It doesn't have, to me, the base note, the heart and the roots of opium. All of the flankers of opium just are different perfumes. So in a way, you know, I really prefer to stick to the original. So there you have it. If you can, try the Pure Perfume. If you can't, go for the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Toilette is really unnecessary at this point as a concentration. In this case, given the quality it has, it's not necessary. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've liked this comparison video. If you have, please do thumb it up and let me know which one of the three concentrations of the original opium you like the most. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Come on.